Well, thanks for joining us again. This is Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey, and definitely not alone.
And I am Chukwuma. Thanks for joining us again.
And yes, of course, Daily Fanimo is with us this morning. Good morning to you. Looking looking very sharp this Wednesday morning. And also, we have Barrister Babatunde Awe. He joins the conversation.
A pleasure.
Thank you very much for staying back.
Thank you very much.
Now, from our Benin station, Comrade Destiny Anabulele joins us as well. Comrade, good to have you. Stay back with us.
I guess you can hear me now.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
I appreciate it.
Good to have you again. All right, then. So, gentlemen, let's dive into it. We have the papers in front of us, and let's go through the headlines. I'll start off with Business Day. Just take a few headlines from the Business Day, and then we'll get into other dailies. 6 oil projects to unlock 800,000 BPD for Nigeria. That's coming from the Business Day. And then that's the big story on the Business Day, on the cover page of the Business Day newspaper. New act sparks investor rush into insurance stocks. Witch hunt. Okay, big story. Witch hunt. I wonder how the big story is now small. Caption very small here. Where they say, big story. Witch hunt claims internal rifts rock opposition coalition ahead 2027 as Atiku Amechi Obi begins supremacy battle for ADC's ticket. What aviation law says about unruly passengers. All right, those are the stories on the cover page of the Business Day newspaper. Now to the Guardian window headlines. Wadada Soludo throw weight behind Tinubu for 2027. NCOS decries low drug supply. Personnel for 8,000 inmates with health needs. Reps pushing to make appeal court final judge in Guba poll disputes. And then the big story. Outrage over Ibam Air incident as IG orders Kwamwon's probe. Now that's in page 6 of the paper. And then the picture right there, that's of the Minister of Aviation, Kiyamo, Najamo, Egbetoku, Urisi, and Osigwe. All right, so now court strikes out 60 billion naira criminal suit against ex-Amcon boss. Lagos moves to regulate rents, curb abuse with new tenancy bill. Each time they talk about this, house rent increases. Troops killed several terrorists in Borno failed ambush. Gani Adams falls Kwara killings. Alerts on fresh crisis in Southwest. And then 97% on titled land limiting collateral for loans, says minister. Court sentences man to death for killing roommate over door closure dispute. Dangote refinery cuts petrol ex-depot price to 820 naira. All right, so now let's dive into the big story there. I mean, this has been an ongoing conversation for some time now. The issue of Kwamwon and that of Comfort Bob Emerson. So let's take the riders to that story. Riders, NBA condemns passengers' treatment, demands withdrawal of lifetime ban. Airline denies releasing viral incident exposure video. NTAA calls for witnesses, explains difference with Kwamwon incident. Okay, now, looking at that story, just taking a few paragraphs from this story here. Afam Osigwe, the president of Nigerian Bar Association, has said the treatment of Ms. Comfort Emerson by Ibam Air was reckless and violated her right to the dignity of a human person. The statement read. The statement said it was deeply disturbing that Ms. Emerson was forcibly removed from the aircraft, stripped of her clothing in public, and subjected to humiliation that was filmed and circulated online, noting that such conduct was degrading, violated her right to dignity and privacy and fell short of the standards of civility and professionalism expected in the aviation sector. Well, Chukuma is of the opinion that it was too fighting. You slap me, I tear your cloth. That's what he says. I will drag you today.
Okay, we're going to drag each other.
Okay, all right.
All right, referee. You'll be the referee.
Well, Ibam Air has issued its own account of events. Other footage has emerged showing an Ibam Air hostess preventing Ms. Emerson from alighting from the aircraft, a conduct that could constitute false imprisonment and a possible provocation that escalated the situation. Now, the NBA insisted that the matter required an independent, impartial investigation by the appropriate authorities before any disciplinary action is taken against her. But unfortunately, as it stands right now, gentlemen, this is coming to you, gentlemen. As it stands right now, she's in Kirikiri. There's a paper I was reading this morning. I can't remember which one, so I can't even get to that story now. But it talks about how she went there with her luggage, of course, from the airplane, her luggage, and then she was taken to the women's wing, where she will be till October 6th, which I think is a long time. And then she's been asked to learn a trade. And then, the way it was reported also speaks to how we value human rights in this country. Because it was reported that, because she's not a VIP, she's not an important personality, and not a government official, so she's not entitled to a special treatment. In as much as she's not been
in the confines of the
she's not been
accorded.
She's not been judged and found guilty. All right, she's not been found guilty.
Not been convicted.
Thank you very much. That's the word I was looking for. She's not been convicted. Now that she'll be there, pending when the case, gets to court and then everything is done, what happens if she's now convicted? Will they remove the amount spent? I mean, I'm just asking the question. Would they remove the amount spent?
I think
sorry, before we move on, I think there's a press statement,
okay,
saying that the federal government has withdrawn the case against her. I'm yet to confirm that, but it's out there in the public.
Oh, okay.
You saw it too. So while discussing that, I think
why did they withdraw the case against her?
No, they are going to conduct an independent investigation.
Because the initial was hastily done.
Was
hastily done.
Yes, maybe.
But not done by the federal government.
No.
It was by Ibam Air.
No.
Ibam Air reported the case, and the police filed it.
NCAA.
Yeah. NCAA. Nigeria's Civil Aviation Authority.
So
who invited the police?
NCAA, that's fine. The police, they are there. They are in the airport.
I think Punch reported this morning that Mr. Keyamo, on the instructions of the Minister of Aviation, that the charges should be withdrawn. And then interesting things also, Mr. Kwagwan's charges ban was reduced to 1 month.
1 month?
Yes, it was reduced to 1 month from the 6-month ban.
Why are we confusing ourselves? Initially, they said 6 months, and then
so indefinitely.
Achimogu said indefinitely.
So according to the statement, Mr. Keyamo said when Mrs. Bob West was being interviewed by the police, or when the matter was being investigated, she showed remorse, and because of the remorse she showed, the charges will be withdrawn. So that brings, if you connecting that to the Kirikiri thing, that means by before close of business, because I think this statement was issued this morning at around 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. So by noon, I'm sure she'll be on her way home. I don't know if she'll fly Ibam Air back home, but she'll be on her way home.
If that ban has been lifted.
By that time. So yes, if the demand to be processed, and then
so a
reproduction warrant will be issued.
Lagos to do.
Sorry, please. Land.
A reproduction warrant will be issued, and our lawyers will follow it up, and they'll take it to the prison officer, the correctional services now.
Okay. Comrade Destiny, I mean, what do you have to say to this one? Because some, like me, of the opinion that this is just, this showing remorse is just a way to cover up somebody else's inadequacies. Somebody else has done something wrong, but rather than say, oh, we're sorry, we didn't do this right, we'll say, okay, she showed remorse, so let's reduce this. Comrade Destiny and Abulele, you have the mic.
Mr. Moses, that's exactly what we're talking about in this country. You see, what has happened to it is quite
Unfortunately, there's an interference with your audio. There's an interference there. We'll like for that to be fixed. I'd like the engineers to look into that. Okay. Unfortunately, there's that interference. We'll have our engineers look into it. We'd like to. Can we try again now before we move on to another conversation? Okay. Please unmute your microphone now. Comrade, Edambulele. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh well, unfortunately, we can't take the audio. It's really unfortunate because he's been waiting to share his thoughts on this.
We're not even you said something about where she was kept, when they drove her. Yeah. I think if she was remanded by the court, ordinarily she should be at the ATM awaiting trial, isn't it? She should be in the ATM. ATM in the prison now.
There are various sections.
There are sections in the prison.
Condemned criminals, those for the drivers are there. Then those for the convicted are there. And then for those awaiting trial, they are there.
Which is the ATM?
Barrister.
I think the systems are more complex than that.
Okay.
If you go to the prisons, there are VIP sections for people that have money to afford particular kinds of lodgings. You understand? Yeah, so it's yes, while there is a stratification amongst the nature of categories of inmates, because when you have been brought in and not convicted of any offense yet, and your matter is in court, you are categorized as an awaiting trial person. It doesn't translate to the nature of lodgings that you are offered. Okay. You understand? The nature of your lodgings depends on the capacity of your pocket. That's just the truth of the matter.
I wanted to ask, as a lawyer, this stratification, is it legal? Is it institutional? As in, when you go to a correctional center, this place was purpose-built for VIPs. Then this other place was purpose-built for awaiting trial and all of that. Or is it a system within the NCOS that created that stratification?
I wouldn't say that it was purpose-built.
Beautiful.
I would say it was purposeful.
Okay.
In every prison system, there are stratifications. You understand? Based on the exigencies of the situation.
Okay.
If you are in prison, a person is in prison, and the person is a high-class witness, the person will not be allowed to be
mix
with the general population
for his own protection.
For the person's own protection. If the person has a disease of a communicable kind, the person will not generally be allowed to
be secluded one way or another.
If the person is condemned, there's a cell for condemned, there's a section for the condemned.
So they don't really mingle like that?
No, they do mingle at they mingle very, very openly. But what I'm saying is when it is time for them to be, when it's lock-up time, there are stratifications. So there's intermingling.
Now, Barrister, what I want to find out is the issue of the VIP.
Yes.
The VIP, is it?
It's a system within this. It's just
a creation within the prison.
It's just a creation within the prison.
It's not as if all over the world.
It happens all over the world. Because Bobrisky was a VIP. Bobrisky.
Yes. We complain.
We complain. The VIP out there in Nigeria
becomes a VIP in there.
Is your deep pocket. That is what I want to find.
You understand? I know that in prisons, you find that
how influential you are in government.
That is what I want to find.
But how can you be influential in government and your pocket will not be deep? Now you are allowed to bring in food from outside. There was a particular guy, sometime in the 90s, that impregnated his wife while in Agodi prison. So
that's some esoteric.
It's not esoteric. It happened.
I'm just saying this. I'm not saying.
You understand?
No, it happened. We know that these things happen. My question is
it legal?
Is it illegal? Is it permissible that when you go to a prison, there is a section designated VIP.
No,
so that
no,
when a
no,
former governor comes, he checks in there.
I don't think that's what happened like that.
It's not indicated.
You see,
So it's a question of the
I
voting
have
system.
visited inmates at Agodi prison, and then there is this new correctional center in Akure, Olokuta Correctional Center. You see, what they do is, within the confines of the general, there is a particular place that is carved out. And then those people, they will be allowed to bring their mattresses, and then maybe this, now that we have rechargeable fine, and then, in fact, in some cases,
Even phones.
warders, even phones,
Yes.
even warders would even have to lobby to become the errand boy of that inmate. So the errand boy serves as a link between the inmate and the outside world. He will be sent to buy food. In fact, it's a lucrative business for those. But that does not give it legal teeth.
So now,
It doesn't give it legal teeth.
Before we
comfort
go.
and qualm.
Okay, so yes, on the comfort issue now, with the directive coming from the minister now, will the courts, tone down its judgments, as it were?
There's no judgment.
There's
yet.
no judgment.
Yeah, but then
There won't be
she-
any
there's
hearing.
no
being
case
remanded,
Yes, there was a
till
remand,
October 6th.
Yes.
Will she be put out on bail
Well,
now?
a formal application, the minister cannot override a decision of a court order.
Okay.
So now, that's why I explained earlier that protocols will be pursued. The directive of the minister, and of course, once that kind of directive has come from that high up, there's going to be some acceleration. I expect that if they work hard at it, they can go before the same magistrate later today and make an application, you understand, for to withdraw the charge. They can file a notice once they file a notice of discontinuance, as they did with Mr. Kuru yesterday, that's the end of the matter. Once a notice of discontinuance has been filed in the registry of the court, of course, if there are things that have been seized, like in Mr. Kuru's case, where his passport was asked to be deposited with the court and other things, those matters will be ordered to be released. In Madam Comfort's, Miss Comfort's case, I think it was just a remand order pending the opening of a trial in October.
Okay. All right. You wanted to say something else?
But we have left this Kwan and go to it.
Let's come back
You
to
shouldn't,
Kwan and go.
you shouldn't gloss over it.
No,
Go ahead.
that's why I say let's talk about the
why
Kwan
is
and
the
comfort.
IG coming up with investigation of Kwan's episode now? Almost
Because there's been
how
an
many
outcry.
days now? I think it happened late
about a
last
week.
week.
It happened on Sunday. No.
About a week. It's
About
about a week now.
It's
Over
about
a
a-
week.
It's about a week.
It's about a week.
About a week.
Now, what was the IG's position before now that is just coming up with that they should investigate that?
Those are
Prob-
some of the things we shout
Probably
about.
because there's been an outcry. Nigerians
I'm
have
sure
said,
that
"Look,
the
there's
pressure
disparity."
of this disparity that had been trending on the social media prompted the IG to say, let us look into it, at least to assuage the general public's feeling and perception about the big man syndrome that is playing out. And so, are we going to see a rehash of what happened to Comfort?
Unlikely, because his ban has been reduced already.
Ahead.
So it just calls for, it just makes us begin to wonder now. Okay, now the IG has said it's going to initiate investigations, and then the punishment, quote and unquote, because
That have been reduced.
yes, even though in my view that punishment ought to not have come at this time, because you can't just impose a punishment on someone without affording the person or an opportunity
Fair hearing.
yes, make representations in his defense over the matter. He might have things that he might be able to say that might, even if he does not remove the liability, might mitigate the nature of punishment that will be meted. You understand? So in my view, they just made a mess of it all. You understand?
I think they acted out of impulse.
As they
And
most cases.
it's also a pointer to the way people think
but there are
in
lots
some
of
of
lessons
these
in Nigeria
offices.
drawn from this.
You know,
lessons.
ordinarily you should have sat back and weigh all the options and look at all the side of the story before you jump into the fray. You know, now you have found out that you didn't take the right action. Now you are reversing yourself. And the worst thing that can happen to anybody in management is to reverse your decision. It makes you look little. Why would the IG be coming up
So
with
if you took a wrong decision, will you, because you don't want to look little, you?
then you should have thought it out before you take that decision.
I think
No, but there's nothing wrong in that. That we normally say there's no wrong time.
I'm
to
not
do the
saying
right
I'm
thing.
not saying that you are infallible, but there are certain things you need to do that to satisfy the fact that you have done your due diligence before you take certain decisions.
Management itself is dynamic. You know, things change. And
For me,
okay,
that's the way I see it. That before I take any decision, I would have looked at all the sides. But that does not mean that decision, based on new information coming up, may be
Cannot
wrong.
change, yes.
That I can admit. But not all these rash decisions that you just find out that in less than 24 hours, you are even ashamed of being part of the decision making.
All right, let's try and go back to Benin. Let's see if we can get better audio from Enabulele, Destiny Enabulele.
Yeah, Mr. Moses.
I can hear you now.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Thank God. Hallelujah. You see, we have a problem. You know, we'll be saying it, and a lot have been said in the platform. You see, there's usually this big mass syndrome, and I must sympathize with the ordinary Nigerians like me, like Moses, like Okoro, like Barrister in the studio. There, we are at the receiving end. It was in this country that a serving senator that ought to have set the example for you and I to emulate desecrated the airport without, any punitive measure. Again, a well-known musician almost stopped a moving aircraft from flying. There was no punishment. Here you are, a comfort from the streets, the Talakawa. Now, without any fair trial, she has been sent to a remand home. That's to tell you what we have in this country. We have been saying it right from when I was in the university. And the big man syndrome is the problem that we are having in this country. There are some persons, they are above the law. And to counter Nigerians, with utmost humility, this issue of ranting in the social media, it's not helping us. You see, the only thing the people know, or those in power know, it is when you prevent or disturb their peace. And we are not doing enough, with utmost humility. Our docility is fueling, is lubricating. They are this inhuman, this very uncultured, or perhaps the not way not to govern country. Because what we are experiencing in this country, this is not the way to govern country. In a very developed country, in a state society, a company or a corporation ought to have set an example. What happened was just an altercation between health service and their passenger. With utmost humility, there's always a saying that your customers are always right. I saw some of the clips. I saw some of the video. For crying out loud, why will you, for instance, why will you block me from disembarking? No, but you don't try. If you try that to me, perhaps you and I will be in the heaven now, trying to seek the face of our Lord Jesus Christ. That is the gospel truth. I cannot, because I paid. It was as if it was a free of charge. With utmost humility, we must learn how to speak truth to power. They must start investigating from Oshomole till the very just now. And see, I want to appeal to Nigerians. An injury to one is an injury to all. Now we are failed to speak out, and we should expect more in the coming days. And see, I always refer to, the Ihedioha election. Permit me to quickly use this. We are failed to speak out in the Ihedioha election. 2027, we should forget about 2027. See, we are afraid to speak out in the Ihedioha election. And now it's repeating itself again. A lady that with her hard-earned money decide to get a ticket to fly, to do one or two business. Perhaps what happened in the aircraft was not very pleasant to her. And decide to make, and the air hostess is blocking. She has a right, for crying out loud. And now, without any fair hearing, without investigation, they took her to court. That's what pains me. That's what pains me as a human being. It could be me. It could be you, Moses. It could be Okoro. It could be anybody. But it won't be those in power, those that know President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, because this is government, the politics of proximity, because that is exactly what played out in that I won't call his name, in that position, because he died and parley with Mr. President. So for us, and that of Oshomole, if a service senator can display that a motor park attitude without Nigerians saying we should penalize him, anybody, and we should expect more coming in the coming days, and we should expect this reaction method on comfort in the coming days, because what we are in now, permit me, we are living in a banana republic, being presided over by the man, quote unquote, and left to abuse Lagos. And Nigeria now, we are now at the receiving end. With utmost humility, I can tell you, from start to finish, there is nothing working in Nigeria as we speak very just now. I know none of you will believe me. There is absolutely nothing. I'm not a prophet of doom. I've said it in the past. As we speak, tell me one sector that is working. We're always reactionary. We're not proactive. Our army has been killed every day. Our roads are not motorable. There are no power. There are no jobs. See, for me, I say, I have said it. This is the only passport I have. And we will keep on letting our voices. Because I want to see this country in a path of recovery in my lifetime. So that, indeed, I can hand over a country that is on the path of recovery to my son, to my daughter, and to my other son. Because I have 3 kids. By and large, again, I can never stop appealing to Nigerians. A closed mouth is a closed destiny. Your destiny is in your hands. If you want this country to move forward, we must look at whoever is our governor, whoever is our chairman of a local government, whoever is our president, and speak to power.
Okay, all right, comrade. I like the fact that you said something about Nigerians being reactionary. Let me take it up from there. Nigerians are quite reactionary. I do agree with you, because everybody now is talking about what happened to Comfort. Nobody is talking about what led to that. What did Comfort do in the first place? Are you aware? Did I tell you? Have you heard what she did? I'm not trying to justify what happened to her. Someone in the studio is looking at me somehow, but I'm saying the action. What led to that reaction? Can we re-examine that?
Yes, Mr. Okoro. No matter what led to it, as a corporate entity, as a company, you have no right to take laws into your hands. I operate 2 companies. Whenever my client tries to misbehave, I call myself, okay, please allow him or her to exhibit a character. This is an aircraft for crying out loud. Whatever she must have done, there are law enforcement agents in our airport that ought to, even when she disembark. In our exit, they can quietly invite her for 1 or 2 questioning. If it's not satisfactory, they will detain her. Rather than you taking laws into your hands and sending men to have the young lady molested, harassed, and you show up before the public a nude video. For me, if I had to be in a shoe, I have said it earlier, you have no right to stop me from disembarking from the aircraft. No matter what I have done, I am your customer. There are ways of you calling me. They will invite me. Because it has happened to me before. When I wanted to fly from Abuja, they delayed our flight. And I have something to catch up in. I think I was going to Ibadan. I was getting some disturbance. And I was invited by either one of the security agents in the distance. And I explained myself. And they invited the aircraft manager that was at Abuja Airport. There are civilized ways of doing things. Rather than this Mogo Park way, rather than this park and Agberoism of doing things in this 21st century, for crying out loud. Even where I was in Heathrow Airport, when they delayed my international passport. In foreign land, because I know my rights, and I was invited for another, and I explained myself. And they called the officer in charge who hand over my passport to them, and I was given my passport for no reason. So for us, there are ways of doing things. Well, for me, I'm not surprised.
All right,
because from where they are
Okay.
coming to Abuja now, it is the gangsterism of where they are doing things in Lagos that they are not, importing to every nook and cranny of this country. And we cannot allow that to strive in this 21st century, and we all must speak against it because it is not our way of doing things. Nigerians,
then.
please let us speak out, and whenever, even if it is me.
All right, and 2 wrongs don't make a right. That's what I would say.
Yes, 2 wrongs don't make it right. But the first wrong is always the action.
I think she should be given fair hearing because we need to hear from her own side.
What actually
Exactly.
We need to hear her side.
from comfort.
A
Yes.
report of a passenger, it's not verified.
Yes, that
Yes.
unverified
Yes.
audio, right?
No, not the
Oh,
there was
there's
a
another
statement
one.
Okay.
by a passenger that offered a statement which was quoted by some of the persons that raised concerns about her treatment. That it started from when she was asked to switch off her phone, and she said, "Look, the button for switching off the phone is bad." And the air hostess who approached, who was described as a very decent air hostess that started the whole conversation, as informed her that since she's using an iPhone, she doesn't really need a button. And she, according to the story, handed the phone over to
the air
please
hostess.
assist. And then another air hostess who was less patient came and began to make a fuss. And that was when matters escalated.
Okay.
Just like you rightly noted, and Honorable said, that it's the management of things. And this will happen again, I can assure you very soon. Because we keep using persons to pursue policies, really, rather than institutionalizing policies. We shouldn't be personal about pursuing reform. We should create structures that guarantee reforms happen. Okay. All these things, they are happening because they are on a larger scale and witnessed by more people. These things happen every day. How do police effect arrest? Someone is on an Okada. There's a human being sitting behind your car. You want to arrest your Okada, and then you come with a stick and strike your Okada. We've seen it over and over again.
Yes.
So how is that a civilized way of effecting an arrest? We saw what happened in Ibadan the other day when a police officer shot in the middle of a crowd at a vehicle that was, that was committing a traffic offense.
Little boy died.
Somebody lost a child lost his life. So this whole affair, what the takeaways are many. Have these people been trained? It's not just to train people and say, "Oh, learn how to lock doors, learn how to swim, learn how to instruct people on an airplane." What of people management skills? Retraining and retraining. Even the pilots, they keep going for training and retraining and certification and recertification. What of the cabin crew? Do they have that kind of similar training? We need to look and review those things. The escalation of it was just totally, in my own opinion, the whole process was just totally poorly managed.
All right then.
There's only one exit out of the airport. You could have allowed her step out of the aircraft and then arrest her at the departure.
And then preventing her from stepping out. That's alone. It's another
offense. Her
offense.
removal from the aircraft are not aviation security personnel. They are personnel of the airline. It's
Okay.
They don't have that
All right
right.
then. Okay. All right. We have. Let's go to Matthew. Matthew Ogunsuada, our correspondent, is on the streets of Lagos now. To sample opinion of Nigerians, Lagosians, on stories from the cover pages this morning. Matthew, good morning to you. What are Nigerians saying? Okay. Well, unfortunately, we've lost connection to our correspondent there. Well, let's stay on the papers now. Okay. Lagos moves to regulate rent, curb abuse with new tenancy bill. Why are you chuckling? I wonder why Chukuma is chuckling.
No, you said something earlier. You said the moment they come up with this thing, there's an increase.
Yes. Immediately they say anything about
rent.
Landlord and tenants. Landlords just start increasing, just in case it doesn't favor
about the issue of rents, even mostly the issue of the rents over the conversations over the last few months.
has been about
this
issue
issue of
rent.
rent, the way rents have been increasing
yeah.
astronomically, yearly rents.
Anyway,
and management of the
let's take the riders and maybe take a few excerpts of the story, and then we'll have your take now. The rider to this one: legislation penalizes payer receiver for breach of monthly yearly rent rules, prescribes jail terms, 1 million naira fine, or both for violations, prohibits landlords from cutting off utilities, disturbing tenants, streamlines court proceedings, allows virtual hearings. Okay. And then in the final draft seen by The Guardian, the bill for a law to regulate the relationship between landlords and tenants include the procedure for the discovery of promises in Lagos State and for other connected matters. We repeal the tenancy law, Cap T1 laws of Lagos State 2015. Now, it says, under the bill, it is unlawful for a landlord or agent to demand or receive from a sitting tenant rent exceeding 3 months for a monthly tenancy or 1 year for a yearly tenancy, regardless of the tenancy's nature at commencement. Okay, it goes on. It says, anyway, we'll continue with this. Let's go to Matthew Ogunswada, whom we've reconnected with now.
All right, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Moses, and to the rest of the crew. It's another beautiful morning right here on the streets of Lagos. And as always, VOP TV is at the Ikeja Under Bridge to bring you the opinion of Nigerians on what's trending on the newspaper dailies this morning. Of course, it's been a mixed feeling on the Ibam Air story that has been trending on the dailies this morning. I have been some Nigerians that would like to speak to those developments. Good morning, man. Thank you so much for joining us on the newspaper review. Tell us your view about any of the stories this morning.
Concerning the Ibam Air issue, I think that lady's attitude is very, very wrong. She's just 26 years old, very young. She should be showing a very good example, and she should be sending a very good signal concerning her personal self and concerning our country, Nigeria. As the situation is going on in this country concerning I'm talking about the safety terrorism that is going on now, that attitude is very, very bad. I think people should have respect for the airline operators, the flight attendants, and the pilots. And general attitude the conduct should be very, very relationship and cordial relationship, and they should show respect in their attitude. If there's any problem, they should report to the authorities in the most formal and polite manner. They should not take laws into their hand. I think the issue about the lady, it has been truly handled very well, and I think more justice should be met upon others, like people like Kwanwan and the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole. I think the law should speak concerning every one of them too. This country has really, really gone through a lot, and I think the government should handle such cases with urgency. Our youth really need to wake up. I think our youth is going down, maybe because of the economic situation and a lot of other things. That's my opinion.
Beautiful. Your name, man, what you do?
Favor. I'm a teacher.
All right, beautiful. Let's hear from another Nigerian. Good morning, sir. So, a whole lot of stories are trending on the newspaper dailies this morning. So, which of them would you like to talk to us about in your own view?
All right. My name's Emmanuel White Emmanuel. I think I want to talk about first the protest that Shore is leading. I think I want to use this as occasion to advise Shore that it's not everything that he should always carry out a protest for. That there are some things that does not need him to lead a protest. With the kind of caliber of person he is, he should not protest in everything as if making things out of it. This thing, he can leave it out. Let the appropriate quarters, sort it out. Within a small time, they will sort it out. You know, whatsoever is wrong, you know, between the copper, you know, and the NYS, they will sort it out. You know, if it is even legally, they will still sort it out eventually. This one does not call for protest, you know, so that he too can preserve his own life. You understand? And get some dignity to himself as a former presidential candidate and a very notable person in Nigeria. That's all I have to tell Showore. For the issue of Akwa Ibom Air passenger, you know, I've been saying it, that no matter unruly behavior that the passenger would have shown, it does not at all brings such things that they did to the passenger. And now facts are being unfolded that even she put her phone on flight mode, and then according to one of the passengers, he said she was carrying out an audition with her phone. The phone was already on flight mode. In flight mode, you can't receive call and you cannot call out, you know, but she was using it for audition. When the flight crew attendant came to her and said, put off your phone, she showed it to her. Look at it, it's on flight mode, you know, because she was working with the phone. The flight attendant must have thought that the phone is still on, but she should have understood that once any phone is on flight mode, you can't receive and you can't call out. And they snatched the phone from her and then hit it on the ground. You understand? And she's a customer. It cannot be the first time that she's flying aircraft, so she must have known the rule, you know. And now at the end of it all, the flight has landed, you know. Then you now mobilize to wait for her and still embarrass her, you know. I think if even she picked up a fire extinguisher or any object to hit anybody, she was doing it in self-defense, you know, for herself, because they must have been too many for her. You understand what I'm saying? You know, for the whole world to see. That's too bad. Very, very bad. And besides that, you now rush her to court and then send her to prison detention.
There's even a follow-up story that the Minister of Aviation has said she should be released now, and that other opportunities, other people that are in that limelight should be brought to justice. But the Minister of Aviation has released a press statement this morning that she should be released.
Yes, true. But this one is something. The dehumanization has taken place already. Okay, what are they going to do to that? The video is still trending on social media up to this very moment, on newspaper up to this very moment. So what are they going to do about that? So I think the airline is culpable. The airline should think of the compensation that they will pay to that very passenger, because the passenger remains their customer. And you understand? And the best law of customership is that, you know, the customer is always right, even when he is wrong. You understand? The customer is always right, even when he is wrong. So you must throw wind to caution to treat every customer. Every customer cannot be the same. Some can be angry, you know, some can be cautious. You understand? But you know how to manage customers.
All right, knowing how to manage customers, those are the reaction and the views of Nigerians on what's trending this morning. Nigeria, of course, VOPTV will continue to monitor these developments closely and provide you with further updates as the situation unfolds. Back to you in the studio.
Those interviews. All right, let's get back to the conversation here. We're talking about Lagos. Lagos State moves to regulate rents, curb abuse with new tenancy bill. Okay, I was reading out a few things, but Barrister Babatunde Awe, who's with us here, you're very privy to, you know, the contents of this bill and tenancy landlord issues. Talk to us.
Well, I'll say just very little has changed in my own opinion. Very little. Most of the positions in the new bill are the same as the 2011 tenancy law, which is popularly known as the 2015 tenancy law.
Okay.
It's long overdue for
Rejigging.
rejigging. You know, essentially the provisions of the tenancy law 2011, which they refer to a lot as the 2015 law, has been significantly on the part of the tenants. I operate the law a lot. Okay. Both on the side of the landlords and on the side of the tenants. So it's something I'm very familiar with. As young lawyers, so that's one of the few things you are trusted with when we started out as baby lawyers 2 decades ago. You know, so those are the little things that you can be trusted with. They didn't consider them. So we had a lot of experience with them.
So how often, between when and when, what's the duration between when a tenant moves in and when rent can be increased?
Yeah, those matters are some of the things that agitate the mind. They can't really legislate those matters, really. You understand?
So a tenant can move in
and
January
tomorrow,
and after a few months, the landlord says, "Look, I think I need to increase this money."
It's a matter of agreement. Okay. You understand?
Because I've seen that happen.
It does happen. Some will say 3 years. Some will say, "Oh, people think, oh, there's a 3 years."
I've actually seen someone pay, move in, still trying to fix a few things, and the tenant said, "Look, I think what I gave you for this house is actually lesser than I want to increase it." And the person didn't have a choice because they've already moved in.
In that case, no. Excuse me. You know, the thing with tenancies is that it's a potpourri of rights. Okay. The tenancy value or the tenancy amount is tied completely to the tenancy agreement. It's already a contract. Just like the tenant cannot come tomorrow and say, "Oh God, I've been sacked to." You understand? My job used to be 600,000 naira per month before. Now it's 400,000 naira per month in my new job. So I want to be paying less. Just like the tenant cannot come and say that, the landlord also has no unilateral right to come and impose an increase in rent. You understand? Because it's tied to the original agreement. Once you've had an agreement, that agreement stays, even if it's 100 years. That's why if you go to court with your tenant, even if you are in court for 20 years, it is still the same rent. That you can't claim an increased rent. You can claim damages and all, but you can't claim an increased rent.
Okay, but this yearly, monthly thing, how do you think it's going to work?
Well, it has always been like that. Depending, because there are different types of tenancy. There's a yearly tenancy, there's monthly tenancy, there's half-yearly tenancy. So the payment of your tenancy, your rent, it should be determined by. But one of the most innovative things that Lagos State is now trying to more forcefully regulate that aspect because of the economic challenges. They are trying to see that, okay, they impose rents that allow for monthly payment.
Do you think that would be in favor of the people? That's the tenants.
Some tenants, depending on your projections, because everybody has his own risk appetite for survival. You might look at, you have some bonus now, you know, in the next 6 months, you won't have that money anymore. You might decide, oh, I want to pay a particular amount ahead. But there's a cap on how much you can pay ahead. Right now, with the new, even in the previous law, you can't pay more than 1 year rent ahead as a yearly tenant or 6 months ahead as a monthly tenant. Now they are capping it at 3 months for a monthly tenant and then 1 year for a yearly tenant, 6 months for a half-yearly tenant. So it's that's why I say, to me, I don't see much innovation in the law. I don't see a lot of it.
Why is it that? Oh, sorry, miss.
I think the innovation here is that it's work in progress. You know, like anytime we talk about this tenancy thing, and I give an example to where I have been before. You understand? So, and I'm sure too that they didn't just start. It's a process. It's a progress, work in progress. In some places, you pay 3 months, and the 3 months is 1 month in lieu and 1 month balance. And so, when you pay the 3 months, after you now start paying on monthly basis.
I even want to ask, why is it that tenancy is paid in
we are just looking at the law. From your experience, has it been implementable?
In many ways, the previous law was very helpful, especially for tenants, because if you remember how Lagos used to be, the landlord would just come with a trailer load of sewage and dump it in front of your house. You know, that became an offense. If you obstruct, you know, there are two types of tenancies, whether a residential tenant. You know, if you disturb the commercial tenants, you have problems because you are affecting trade and business. The same with if you look at Section 44 of the current law. If you do it so much as shout, harass your tenant in a manner that causes him apprehension that you want to throw him out, it's an offense. You know, 250,000 naira and imprisonment for, I think it's a month. Now they've increased
For
it.
the landlord.
Yes, they've increased it to 2
Then the
million
tenant
now.
will be chased out when he comes out.
No, but it's good that we have this.
We're running out of
It's
time.
good that we have this.
It's just a kind
in
of
places-
check.
In places where they enjoy some level of decency, this is how it started. You know, the law doesn't take place in one overnight. You know, it's a process, and I like it. I've been a beneficiary of it. You know, when this 1 year thing started, I was living in
And
Lagos.
I would also want to know why the law to your rent, you're paid. I mean, your rent is paid in advance. Meanwhile, your salary comes in arrears. Can't we, rejig that and ensure that your rent can also be paid in arrears?
I think it's still a personal
Some landlords
thing.
are just squeezing their nose
Preference.
right now.
Whatever the law is, there are people that the law still says pay, don't pay more than 1 year. There are people that want to pay 5 years ahead because it's cheaper for them.
Okay,
You pay 5 years
we're
ahead,
out of time.
5 years
We're
time.
absolutely out of time. Thank you very much, Barrister Babatunde Awe.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming. A big thanks also to Daily Fanimo for staying with us on the program. Big thanks to Comrade Destiny and Nabulele. Unfortunately, Comrade, the network didn't give us ample time to take your view on all the conversations. But we do appreciate you and would like to see you again. Comrade Destiny and Nabulele who joined us from our Benin station. Later tonight, Chukuma will be back here 6 p.m. for Political Lens. But until then, stick around. Sports comes up next at 11 o'clock on the DOT with Kizi K. He is Chukuma Okoro, and I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.